friends, I'm coming to you tonight live from my office here in Cedar Hill. And this is the first time I've done this, so hope you'll bear with me. But I wanted to bring to you a little bit about what God laid on my heart for Thriving Thursday this month. And we really couldn't get together because of the whole coronavirus issue. But I felt this is so important that I wanted to find a way to bring it to you anyway. So there's so much concern about the coronavirus, the supply hoarding, the ranting, the panicking. It's just really gone crazy. And I'm going to try to address some of that tonight, actually, and talk about how God can bring us peace through this. Really, these things exemplify our reactionary natures as human beings. We resist being still. We want to do something about everything that happens. And yet, really, that's not the way to complete peace and joy. But my original message title for tonight, ironically, was Spring Fever. Before all of this broke out, no pun intended. And, really come February, we're eager for warmth. We want positive changes. We want to see everything turning green. We want to see the flowers blooming. But we want to do some spring cleaning. Some of us, not all the time, but we get restless. We daydream. If the kids were in school right now, they'd be having a really hard time paying attention and staying in their seats. Fortunately for the teachers out there, the kids are at home inflicting that on their parents instead. But if you're an introvert or a homebody like me, you're probably not freaking out, having to stay home. A lot of people are. The truth is, really, the hardest thing that we ever have to do is nothing. And it's against our nature just to let go and let things be, quite honestly. But no wonder it's hard to put it all in God's hands. We can't even take our own hands off it for a minute. Now, if you've ever played Sorry, Monopoly, Uno, or any of those kinds of things, what's the worst thing that could happen? You miss a turn. What's the worst punishment at school? Timeout, detention. All of these things involve being forced to stay put, to be still. And that's something that we're not good at. We're seeing that in society. What I'm seeing now really is there are three ways that we try to cope with this feeling of being trapped, actually. The first one is distraction. We need entertainment. We need music. We need games. We need fitness. We need whatever. God help us if all the cell phone towers go down. There will be an absolute apocalypse out there. People will go nuts. But people can't even put their phones down at the table. They can't put them down when they're in line somewhere. They can't put them down even at a red light. They just have this constant need to be doing something. And that distraction really is detrimental to our peace. We need to get control of it. And it's something that gets in the way of us listening to what's really going on the inside, the source of everything. Secondly, occupation. Busyness, projects, hobbies. We're always a slave to the urgent and the important. So much that we have no time to stop. We don't ever stop. We don't ever stop and assess things. We don't ever stop and think, okay, do I really want to be doing this with my life? Do I really want to be making these decisions? We're just going through the motions and we're staying busy and we're getting busy and busier. We think that if we're discontent, if we just add something else to our plate, that it's going to make us happier. But more isn't necessarily better, especially when it comes to occupying your time and taking up your energy and your resources. The third thing that we do, and that I'm seeing that everyone do, is preparation, prevention. That's what we're seeing now. If we don't have enough to do, then by gosh, we're going to get really busy worrying and then doing something about whatever that is that we're worried about to try to keep it from happening or from happening again or from continuing to happen. We're just always, trying to do something about what's going on. And we're at a point now where the most we can do is, these three things: be distracted, be occupied, or prepare, or prevent. But really, none of those things are the answer to what we really need to be doing for peace. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I'm God. I will be honored by every nation. I will be honored through the world." We are so averse to being still. We resist giving up that control. It makes us feel too vulnerable. It gets too quiet when it's still. When it's quiet, we can hear and we can feel, we can realize things and recognize things that we haven't really thought about or felt or recognized before. And it becomes extremely uncomfortable for us if there are things that we need to deal with that we have not, I'm really good at compartmentalization myself. Things get too difficult to deal with. I put it in a box and I set it aside and I go do something else, and I'm sure I'm not unique in that respect. It took me years to deal with my mother's sudden unexpected death because I didn't want to. So I was perfectly happy just to box it up and set it aside and just not deal with it for so many years. And we do that with things in our own lives too. It's just easier not to. It's easier not to face it. It's easier to turn the music up. It's easier to turn the TV on. It's easier to go read something or do something or play a game or stay busy rather than be alone with your own thoughts, because that's really an uncomfortable place to be. But Psalm 62:1 says, I wait quietly before God, for my victory comes from him. See, if we would learn to just wait quietly before God and just stop and just listen and just absorb a little bit of his presence and maybe get some of his peace from that, we would realize that we don't have to have that control. We don't have to know everything that's going to happen next. We don't have to prevent or prepare for everything. We can just be still and trust God and listen to him. And as we trust him more, we're able to wait quietly before him. We're able to be still. We're able to trust that our victory is going to come from him, not from our own efforts, because we can't win every battle on our own. Psalm 27:14 says, wait patiently for the Lord. Be brave and courageous. We're definitely in a moment right now where we need to be brave and courageous. And that's a really hard thing to do when you have no control, unless you put it all in God's hands. And to be honest, and I said this on my post this morning, we don't have any control over whether we're going to wake up tomorrow morning. So even in the things we think we have all this control over, we really have none. And so we really have no other choice but to trust God. And I know that seems like, okay, you're just checking out and you're in denial of everything. Well, there's a fine line between denial and faith, but being in denial is not the place to be. But being in faith, at that point, you're there because you've got peace about it. You're okay with it. You're not living your life in dysfunction. You're not in a tailspin. You are going forward with things, and you're trusting God in a very solid way. You're taking that issue, that matter, that fear, that anxiety, whatever it is, you're taking it and you're placing it squarely in God's lap, and you're just going to leave it there. Okay. And in this moment here, in this time we're going through these things, there's a reason why it feels like it's too much. The truth is, it is. That's why it feels like it's too much. We weren't meant to carry everything that we try to carry around with us. The worries, the things that we blow out of proportion in our minds as a result of just trying to take care of and manage everything. And we cannot. Matthew 11:28-29, Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. That rest for your soul, you only find that in those quiet places, in those times when you dare to be still, when you dare to let go of everything that's going on, and you dare to just say, you know what, God, I'm just going to trust you, and I'm going to give this to you. And you're going to listen to what he says, and you're going to follow his lead, and you're going to be able to go on in that way without carrying all those burdens. As I said, you were not meant to carry them. He went to the cross. He took the beatings. He even took the mental and the emotional hardships that we think God can't possibly understand. He took all of that for you. And all you have to do is give it to him to carry for you. That same Jesus who calmed the storm can calm that inner storm that's going on in you right now. He can calm the storm that's going on in our nation, but it's got to start with you. It's got to start in one place, particularly when we're in a situation where we're isolated from each other. The most important thing that's happening right now, and the only thing you can do anything about really, is what's happening in your home. Is there peace or is there turmoil in your marriage? Is there peace or is there turmoil between you and your children? You know, it all goes back to that one place where if you can be still and know that he's God and trust him with everything, trust him with your marriage, trust him with your children, trust him with the differences that you're having with your boss, the differences that you're having with your coworkers, your neighbors, whatever it is, it all comes back to realizing that you need to instead of being afraid of those times where it's still and quiet and alone, you need to have the courage to say, okay, I'm going to go there voluntarily and I'm going to go get along with God and I'm going to ask him, Lord, what is it? What is it that's causing all this? What is it that I need to do? And you listen and then you move forward, trusting God. Psalm 59:16. But as for me, I will sing of your power. Each morning I will sing with joy about your unfailing love. For you have been my refuge, a place of safety when I'm in distress. If you're in distress right now, you need God to be your refuge. You need to be your place of safety. You know, and that's the last thing I want to talk about here is that we build storm shelters to keep us safe. And, you know, God is so much more than that. He's a place where you can hunker down and have complete and utter total peace in the middle of whatever is going on. If you'll just give it all to him and trust him with it and have the courage to be alone with your thoughts and be alone with your feelings and make your heart open to God and be vulnerable and stop trying to do everything that you can to resolve what's going on or prevent what may happen, but just to be still and trust God and know that he is with you through this. He's going to carry you through this no matter what happens. He's going to be there for you and with you, and he's going to be your source of peace and joy until the end. Thank you for joining me tonight. I might do this some more in the future if you like, but I do send prayers out to all of you out there, our first responders, our healthcare workers, everyone that's down in the trenches, even in IT, like my husband is, trying to make everybody be able to work from home. And everyone has so many needs and so many concerns revolving around this one issue. The very best thing we can do is to take advantage of this opportunity to have quiet time and to be alone and to make that a time to get alone with God and get your life back on track. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and God bless you all.